What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Drop the Mitts Hockey Podcast. I'm Mike Sullivan alongside Chris Davis, and we're here to bring you all the most recent NHL news, preseason news, surprise signings, some surprise, send-downs in the NHL. We got an interview for you this episode too. But before we get into it, Chris, what's up, brother? How you been?
I'm good, man. Like I said, we talked about this earlier. We're getting closer and closer to hockey season, and we're so close, man. Like a week out, from Bruins taking on Chicago and Bedard, and I'm fired up, man. I'm ready to go, and it's time. It's been long. It's been long enough.
Should we go tarps off for this episode to start off the season with a bang?
I'd rather not for everyone's eyes. I'm
fired up. Let's go. Let's go, dude. The season's right. The season's here, dude. The season is here.
It is. And so Emma and I went to the Washington Bruins game, the last one. Was that last night?
That was last night. You also went to didn't you go to the game against the Flyers also?
No, which one did I go to? It might have been.
How many garden crack beers did you have that you forgot what game you were at?
Too many. Too many, dude. And the first night was with Boozy, and shout out to our boy downtown Boozy and Balboni, who is a friend of Boozy's. Met him, and unbelievable guy. He was so funny, dude, and we had a blast. It was Philly, because now that I'm thinking about it, Bobby Brink scored a fucking nasty fucking shootout goal.
Yes.
And that was gross. It was Philly, now that you mention it. But I won't disclose how many crack beers were consumed that night, because it's pretty alarming. But
Garden might have to kick you out after they
that or give me a fucking rewards card or something.
The gold card.
The gold card, dude. But it was just still, like, even the crowd at the Garden, like, we were able to kind of move around a little bit, but it was still pretty packed. Like, we kind of sat at that, what is it, like the Bud Light Lounge or whatever? Actually, where we met up and whatever, we kind of sat at those seats, overlooking the ice at center ice.
Yeah. Those are nice.
We originally had we were in the balcony, but we went and sat at this Bud Light Lounge, and no one said anything to us. We just sat there the entire game. We were right at center ice, and it was awesome game. I mean, awesome seats, and it was not completely packed, but as close to a full crowd as you're gonna get.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, dude. For considering it's preseason, and you see all the other preseason games going on around the league too. When you compare the crowds that Boston's had so far for preseason games to say, I don't know, Philly, or Buffalo has had pretty good crowds, but just look around the league. Bruins are leading the preseason in attendance. That's for sure.
Yeah. You mentioned Philly, dude. I was watching that game, and they probably fucking trying to pay people to go see that shit.
Yeah.
But it looked empty, but it was a awesome crowd, especially last night, dude. Like, Emma and I were in there. We were sitting in the Rafters Club or whatever, and it was so fucking loud, dude. Every 3 fucking seconds you're hearing Luch. And my God, did I miss it? I'll tell you that much. Emma's screaming Luch in my ear, and I'm like, okay, yep, we're back.
We're back.
We're back. It was a great game, man. A lot of players stuck out to me. Obviously, beyond the obvious, like, everyone's talking about Matthew Poitras right now. Everyone's talking about Mason Lohrei. We got the news today that Trevor Kuntar, Georgian Merkulov, and Mark McLaughlin were all sent down to Providence, as well as Megna, who was placed on waivers for the purpose of reassignment. The one that I was really disappointed in, and although I understand it, was Trevor Kuntar. And not to show any bias, I think he looked really good, man. And, like, he has some bite to his game that is perfect for this Bruins organization, the way that, fans look for Bruins to play, that attitude, that bite to his game. And although I understand it, I was still disappointed to see that, but really thrilled to see that Matthew Poitras, Mason Lohrei, and Johnny Beecher are still on this team. What are your thoughts seeing of the recent, send downs, and to see these guys still on the roster?
I'm so happy that Matthew Poitras is still here. Mason Lohrei is making a good solid case for himself too. I think Johnny Beecher is your solidified 4C. I don't think you're going to see Boqvist. I think that would be a mistake if you do. Just considering, I mean, you heard Montgomery too mention, that they wanted to play more physical and with a little bit more, bite and size to their game. So, I mean, Johnny Beecher fits that role. I think he's going to be the perfect 4C for this team, especially when you're matching him up with guys on his wing like Lucic and Lauko. I mean, we've seen it already work so well in the preseason. Give me that as many games as you can this year. But with guys like Trevor Kuntar and Mark McLaughlin, getting sent down, I think you could probably throw Merkulov in there as well. They're going to get called back up at some point during the season. They're not going to spend, all however many games they play in the AHL. I'm not sure. I think it's 70. I don't think they play a full 82. I think it's 70. I could be so wrong about that, but either way, you're going to see them get called up when guys need some rest. Maybe when some guys are dinged up and they need a little bit of an extended break, you're going to see these guys get called up. And having them get sent back down to the AHL, it's not a knock on them or their game or anything like that. It's just, the roster that the Bruins have right now is deep enough where you can afford to send guys like them down and know that you have that reliable replacement player in your system already ready to come up and play. So it didn't shock me. But yeah, man, this isn't the last you're going to see of them. That's for sure.
Yeah. And like I said, you just said it yourself too. Like, this is not the last that you're going to see of them. Like this, right. I think we have a real luxury as much as people have been knocking on this forward group, especially with Patrice Bergeron leaving, with David Krejci leaving. I do think this dude, the more that I watch this team, I think, and with the emergence of Matthew Poitras, with the emergence of Johnny Beecher, you're now adding those factors in. And again, dude, now I'm curious what you think. Do you put Matthew Poitras in a 1C role and then have everyone kind of shift down to where they're most comfortable? And for me, why not, dude? Again, you're putting Charlie Coyle in his element as a third line center, right? Pavel Zacha, you're going to put back down as that 2C, still pair him with JVR and Pasta, and let Poitras get some time with the captain and DeBrusk. I don't hate that at all, and I think with that, you have 4 solid lines. I'm curious what your thoughts are.
I think I don't think, okay, so I don't think you can introduce him as your first line center. I don't think you I'm not saying he's not capable, but I'm saying I don't think you should.
And what's your rationale behind that?
So I say second line. I say you put Zacha, because I love Coyle 3C. 3C Coyle is his bread and butter. He's the best third line center in the league. He thrives in that spot. I'm more in favor of having Zacha as that 1C paired up with Pasta, and then say, I don't know, pick your poison for left wing. But if you have Poitras on the second line with, I don't know, you could have Marchand and DeBrusk, say. And then you could, I guess you could maybe throw JVR on the first line. That's where it's going to get a little bit sketchy. It's the wings and their the tiers of the wings, essentially.
Yeah, I think, for me, I think, and like I said, I agree with, I can understand where you're coming from. I think the lines are solidified, at least in my mind. What I see, pick your poison, say what you want, first line, second line, whatever. The way that JVR played with Zacha and Pasta, I really liked.
Yep.
And he added, man, when he went Bar Mexico, the Garden went fucking electric. It went bonkers, dude. And I wasn't expecting it. That shot, dude, I was like, holy shit. And he's a big boy, and he can put a lot of mustard behind his shot. And that was a fucking sick shot. And I loved that line. Just everything they did. They all complimented each other. Zacha and Pasta aren't ones to get in the corner and muck it up, but JVR is. And I think that's what is going to make that line so good, is because, JVR isn't afraid to go in those dirty areas, and it kind of allows Pasta and Zacha to, do what they do without the puck, and allow, JVR can go muck it up and, park his ass in front of the net. And, and then, call it what you want. Yeah, we can say Marchand is the second line, right? But there's no doubt in my mind that him and Poitras should be together.
Yeah.
as well as DeBrusque. And I think that's another line that's really going to complement each other really well.
Yep.
Because Marchand isn't afraid to go muck it up in the corner.
Right.
You know,
and not to cut you off, but also too, he can act as almost a protector of Poitras when you're playing against those bigger guys too. You know what I mean? You have that security for him.
Listen, dude, as a 19-year-old kid coming in, you're in the show. Like it doesn't get any bigger than this.
Right.
And what better player to learn from and to mentor you than a Brad Marchand, the captain. You know, and again, and Jake DeBrusque, I know he can be streaky at times, but we know he plays well with Marchand, right? We know that they have success together. And this is a line that I think could be really exciting to watch. You know, and I'll say it right now. I think you're looking at, you know, the next thing in Boston in Matthew Poitras. I think you're looking at the heir to Patrice Bergeron. I think you're looking at the next thing, dude. And again, you look at these older guys that brought Patrice Bergeron in and mentored him and grew him into what he is. Look at this Matthew Poitras kid, dude. The city is all. We did the same thing with Patrice Bergeron, and the entire city embraced him.
Yep.
This leadership group is going to carry him and teach him and mentor him, and this is a phenomenal leadership group to learn from. I'm so fired up for this kid, and yeah.
It's funny that you say that because on Nick and I's episode of Something's Bruin, we said the exact same thing. If you're going to bring in Poitras, and let me back up a second. If you just witnessed what he did in the preseason consistently, by the way, and I think it was Brett Howard, shout out Brett, shout out Only Bruins, who also noticed this, is that he played just under 20 minutes for both his last two games, under 20 minutes.
He played the same amount of time as Pasta.
Yes, and he thrived, and he didn't look tired. He was blocking shots, he was getting hit, he was getting right back up. He was fine. And if you're seeing what he's doing in this preseason, you love what you see. And like you mentioned, there's no better group to learn from than guys like Marchand, Pasta, and the Coyle, throw the veteran guys, dude, that are already in this lineup. Put him in here and let him learn and let him gel with the team right now. Like, this is the year to do it. And if this was the same case last year, I don't know if his case is as strong as it is right now to stay with the team. But because you have two center holes, because Krejci and Bergeron left, you still have guys like Marchand, Coyle, Pasta, throw DeBrusque in there. JVR with his veteran experience, Lucic. Yeah, you know what? He has to at least get the 9-game trial, 100%.
And this is you know, the other podcast that I was on that we were just talking about. I couldn't disagree more with. Again, had he not gotten this opportunity, right? Say we had put in, I don't know, just top of my head, Patrick Brown.
Yeah, Boakfist, one of them.
Like, again, and we just assume that, well, these guys have been in the league. Yep, like, we know what we're getting. Like, this, you know, automatically assuming that he needs more time, right, to develop. Right. And I'm not going to fucking toot my own horn or whatever, but I'm telling you from development camp, and I'll pull back clips of past episodes and past tweets, the two Bruins players that were most NHL ready at that development camp were Matthew Poitras and Mason Lohrei. Matthew Poitras, especially, the way that he sees the game and the way that he moves and the way that he just sees the ice without the puck, right? And I think you saw it yesterday. He's gonna blossom into a solid two-way center in this league.
I'm not even lying, dude. If he plays alongside pick your, like we said, pick your poison. If he plays alongside Pasta or Marchand, it's not gonna be both. It's gonna be one. They're gonna split him up. In my mind, I think that's the best way to do it. And that's kind of how we saw Montgomery operate last year anyway. So I'm assuming he'll do the same thing. If he plays with one of them consistently, I'm not even kidding you, dude. I think he could. I think the baseline for points is 50, like easily 50.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's on the lower end,
right?
Personally, and I agree with you. Yeah, I think that baseline, like playing with either one of those two, I mean, he could easily go for 50. And another point that I wanted to bring up is although Patrice Bergeron has retired and he's not going to be on the ice for opening night or this whole season, you can't sit there and tell me that he's not, involved in some way, shape, or form. And what better guy again to learn from than the guy with the most all-time Selke trophies, a Stanley Cup winner, the past captain, like what better, and you can't sit there and tell me that he's not involved in these,
Right.
conversations and whatever. Like I just love this altogether, and I think it just makes too much sense to not keep him in the lineup, right? Like
Yes, like even if Bergeron isn't there in person physically, you don't think he's texting, calling Poitras just to kind of give him some advice, give him some, of that veteran knowledge, that sense that he's adapted in the last 19 years that he was in this organization. He's
what
for
I
sure in contact.
yeah, and it's the biggest thing is mentorship. I think,
Yes.
like I think again to have someone so similar, right, to their situation when they first came in the league, it's very
Right.
similar. Like obviously Patrice Bergeron had, the language barrier. He had more to overcome, I think, right? And obviously they were both, not first rounders. Where we're looking at Patrice Bergeron now as he probably should have been the number one pick in that draft.
Right.
But again, the similarities in like the two in both of their stories starting out, right? Like it just makes too much sense for them not you mentioned, yeah, the 9 games we can give that trial. I don't think right now for me, I'm sold on the whole season.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any more room for improvement for him going back to junior. I don't think.
No, I don't
Again,
either.
he's shown the amount of points that he put up, the how he dominated that league, and he can't go to Providence. So again, is sending him to junior really going to help him develop that much more, or has he kind of capped out, and is him playing NHL minutes against NHL players going to help his development? And I think it does.
Dude, him going back to juniors, like, say he doesn't get the 9-game trial, which at this point I think would be shocking if he doesn't get the 9-game trial. If he gets sent right back to juniors, I think that would be worse for him, to be honest. I think that would crush his confidence. I think actually, I don't want to say that. It might light a fire under his ass, but like at the same time, he's going to be like, what else am I supposed to do?
He had a quote, and I don't have the exact quote, but he pretty much and I don't like putting words in players' mouths because that's not fair, but he along the lines of he thinks he made it really hard for them to send him back.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and he thinks his level of play, and I agree. How can you send this kid down? Dude, that goal that he scored last night, the Garden was booming. It was disgusting, dude. Like, and again, he has made it hard for this team to send him back down. It wouldn't make sense for him to go back.
And also, don't forget, I forget what game exactly it was. It might have been against Philly. The first game against Philly, I think, whichever one went to overtime. He had a little backhand shot from, I don't know, in the circles, and he hit the post. I mean, I think the biggest criticism that's come from his game during the preseason isn't even a bad criticism. I think the main criticism against Poitras was that he needs to shoot more, and that's it. Like, nobody's dogging giveaways, bad positioning, bad skater, nothing like that. It's literally like, no, like if he just shot more, he would he would get even more points.
Yeah, I think another knock that I'm seeing, right, and it's not. I'm saying literally on Bruin's Twitter, which
right
that
sometimes can be a cesspool.
Yeah, so like, one of his knocks was again he needs to get stronger, which is inevitable. He's a 19-year-old kid just coming out of junior.
He's kind of like he's heavy though. He's not like a small guy in terms of weight. You know what I mean?
No, but the difference between from junior to development camp, you're playing against your peers. Yep. Then going to the NHL where you're playing against grown ass men that have, again, are older and bigger and stronger. That might be the only knock that I could see. But again, that's not something that that's something you can fix, and that's
Yep.
something you can work on, and that's something that's probably one of the easiest things that they can address,
Yeah.
right?
You
Is
just have
size
to
and
you just have to
strength.
put in the work.
Exactly. Go on the Chris Davis diet, and we'll get you right. And but yeah, dude. So again, it's not even a knock at that point. You know what I mean? Like
Right. Right.
the kid absolutely belongs. I would be shocked, dude,
Well,
if
his hockey IQ is just like
off the
it's
charts,
insane. It is insane.
off the charts. Like I said, I things that I like to look at. You know, obviously normal hockey fans, yeah, you want to see what they do with the puck. For me, it's what they do without the puck. Where
Yep.
are they? Their positioning, you know, their defensive placement. Like what are they doing without the puck? And for me, he's always in the right position, right? You know, we always, you know, we saw a few times, yeah, you know, a couple bad turnovers, but again, the vast majority of the time, he's always in the right spot. So again, and I really hope to see this kid opening night against Chicago, man. He belongs. He's proven that he belongs, and I think it would be such a disappointment for him to get sent back to junior.
Yeah, dude. Like Mel said on our Something's Bruin episode, it's the Poitras versus Bedard game. That's what it is.
Yeah, dude. Oh well, let's not.
Yeah, you know, you agreed. You agreed. No, it was a joke. Obviously, it's a joke.
Yeah.
But
I saw. I don't. Did you see that fucking Heat Daddy quote where not quote? It was the tweet. It was literally a fucking empty net goal from Bedard, and he's like, "Yep, I'm sold." Like,
dude, I clicked on the tweet expecting to see an insane
some
highlight.
like highlight reel goal, and I'm like,
Yeah,
it
it
was
actually
so
made me
fucking
like
funny.
it made me cackle. Like
Yeah,
that was so funny. It got me so good.
Yeah, dude. I again, yeah, I was expecting some like fucking highlight reel goal or like something, and just empty netter. Yeah. But I kind of want to transition a little bit to Beecher and Lowry. Obviously,
Yep.
the Poitras talk we could go on all day, but
Yeah, we got a whole
two other young guys. Yeah, two other young guys that have that are no slouches are Mason Lowry and Johnny Beecher, who both of them have made a real good argument to stay up with the big club. What have you seen from both of these guys? And do you think that opening night you see both of them on the roster?
Johnny Beecher for sure. I think that fourth line is solidified. Lucic, Beecher, Lauco for at least a little bit, like a little trial run in the regular season, just to see really what you got there. But everything from Johnny Beecher's preseason is good. I mean, he's quick. His skating is as advertised. He flies out there, right? And now one goal he had, I think it was the first preseason game, just like that easy, smooth, quick feet, slide the puck 5-hole for a goal. Like that was nice. I think he's. I don't want to use the word lock, but I think he's about 90% certain to start the year in that fourth line center spot. I think if you go Boqvist, I think that's a mistake. I think if Brown gets in there, I think that's a mistake.
You
It's
think?
like I think so. If like because we were saying too a couple episodes ago, it was either on this or Something's Brewing, but this is the time for the youth, right? Like this is the time where the youth needs to be given the chance and a real legit opportunity to show what they've been working on for however many years that they've been here. But with Lowry, it's hard to argue against that too, because I mean he outplays Forbert for sure. But
I'll take it a step further. He outplays Zaboral.
Oh my god, yeah. I put Forbert ahead of Zaboral. I have said this a couple times. I'm so completely over Jacob Zaboral. I've seen enough. But I think you're kind of in a tough spot cap-wise with Forbert, right? Because he is making that $3 million. That's going to be a tough one to kind of get rid of. At this point, if you really think Lowry is ready, and we see Mitchell now too. Mitchell is. I think Mitchell is your seventh defenseman.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he fits into Montgomery's system so well that I think that's a shoe in too. I think he's shoot in as your seventh guy. I'd put him above Zaboral too. But if you're comfortable with Lowry and Mitchell being that kind of that almost like third pairing swing guy, if you can ship off Forbert even for a late pick, like Forbert is a capable NHL defenseman, and I'm sure some team would love to have him. Give us a 6th, give us a 7th. I don't care. Shed that money. We have the guys here now who are the future, and they should be playing over guys like Derek Forbert.
Absolutely. And you mentioned that cap hit, right? $3 million.
Yep.
I believe there's only 2 or 3 teams that can actually take on that contract right now. One of those teams being the Anaheim Ducks. And we've done deals with them in the past. Now, I think a deal with them would make sense.
Yeah.
I think to make it more enticing for them, I think you'd have to throw in something else, right?
Throw in a 5th.
Like I can't see a scenario where, man, he looked rough.
Yeah.
Like again, and I know he's coming off injured.
Too.
Yep, he is, and I acknowledge that. And I'm also going based on the playoffs last year. I think we have our core, right? I think it's very similar to Poitras, right? Like what is sending him to Providence? Yeah, you know what? He'll get top pair minutes in Providence, which, call it for what it is. Yeah, probably will help him. But again, I think he's made it very hard. He's made it very difficult for them to send him down. He's outplayed Zaboral. He's outplayed Forbert. We've already seen they just sent down Mike Callahan. They sent down Walsh. Like, again, they're giving this kid a legit look, and there's clearly something that they like in his game. And I can see it. My dream pairs, right? I'd love to see Lowry with McAvoy. Right?
I was just going to ask you that.
I think they complement each other very well. I think McAvoy is a safe defenseman. He's been in the league. He's been at the top of one of the best defensemen in the league, for the past couple years. Let Lowry go out there, right? And again, what better person to learn from than a Charlie McAvoy, who is, to me, a top 5 defenseman.
And even with that being said too, because I'm with you, I would like to see Lowry with McAvoy. But mentioning learning from a guy like him, right? McAvoy is a phenomenal guy to learn from. Obviously, he grew up in the Bruins system, essentially.
Right.
But even if you don't go Lowry McAvoy, you could go another veteran on the team, Lowry Shattenkirk. Like that's not a bad guy to learn from either. Obviously, he's not the same player he used to be at all. But still, he has the experience, he has the knowledge, he has, things I'm sure that he could teach Lowry that McAvoy hasn't even experienced yet, just by him being in the game so long.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do want to see Lowry and McAvoy. I think that would be so sick.
The only reason why I wouldn't put Lowry Shattenkirk, obviously he's older, right? He's lost a step, dude, and that comes with age, and that's perfectly normal. I worry that if Shattenkirk, obviously Charlie McAvoy doesn't make a lot of mistakes, right? He's a very safe defenseman. He's very good defensively. Yeah. I would more so like him to not I want Lowry to be able to go out there. We saw the plays that he was making to break out the puck, in himself out of the zone, dude. His skating ability, the way that he's able to break the puck out. I would rather him be able to play his game, right? And not have to worry about, say, if Kevin Shattenkirk gets beat, right? Because you and I are talking right now, Charlie McAvoy doesn't get beat very often.
No.
And I think putting him with Lowry, it would kind of alleviate that, right? Lowry would be able to go out and kind of play his game, jump up in the play, like Jim Montgomery loves his defensemen to do. I think Lowry could thrive playing with a guy like Charlie McAvoy. And I don't hate that third pair of Grizz and Shattenkirk. I don't.
No.
I don't at all. And I think Lindholm, Carlo, obviously we saw last year, they played very well. And Mitchell as your 7th defenseman, I think we're cooking with hot grease at that point.
This Bruins team, again, might be better than people are giving them credit for. They really might do some things again this season that shock you. I don't think they're going to get 135 points or whatever the hell it was, but they might be over 110 again.
But I think that's what's going to help them. I think that's
Yes.
what's going to be good for them is the fact that they don't have this record looming over their fucking shoulders, and they're not looking at that. Could
That's a
they
good
be
point.
could they be a 6, 7, 8 seed? Potentially, but they're not going to have to worry about that fucking record and being the best team in the NHL. Very similar to what Florida did.
Right.
Florida
Exactly.
as an 8 seed last year. Like again, no one had expectations of them moving on and moving that far, right?
Right.
And I think that's something that could help this team. And you and I made our predictions, and obviously on paper, we didn't love what they had. But now with the emergence of now that we're seeing all these pieces in play and we're seeing these combinations and how they're playing, like it changes a lot for me. And I'll admit, like I wasn't high on them. Like I don't think you were either.
No, I was saying potentially 8 seed, potentially potentially being on the bubble.
Yeah.
But I mean, dude, like you said too, like you didn't expect to see what you're seeing right now at a Poitras. You kind of had an idea of what Lorai was, but the way he's playing is kind of outplaying what you imagined for most people. And then Beecher too. Beecher looking this solid in that fourth line role with obviously Luch and Lauco is it's great. It's a great thing for this team. And like you said too, they don't have this giant record looming over their heads all season long where it's you eliminate that distraction. Whether it was a good distraction or a bad distraction, it's still a distraction taking you away from your game. So they don't have that looming over their heads. They can just go out there every night, play their game, play for the veterans like Marchand, and then play for the younger guys like Lorai, Poitras, and Beecher. And I think this year's dynamic is going to be so much fun for Bruins fans. You're gonna have excuse me, you're gonna have a great mix of veteran aged players, Shattenkirk, Marchand, and then you're some middling guys who are just hitting their primes: DeBrusque, McAvoy, Carlo, Lindholm, Swayman, Olmark, and then you have these young guys too who you're gonna just on a nightly basis be excited to watch and root for.
Yeah. Going back, dude, we talked about it when being at Dev Camp, and I knew they were NHL ready, and they obviously were dominating their peers, right? And I think, yeah, it's easy for someone to say, yeah, they're NHL ready, watching them at a development camp. I understand that's easy, but actually seeing it come to fruition and seeing them now thrive playing against NHL level talent, it changes everything, right?
Everything.
You're adding a potential top 6 center, right? You're adding a potential top 4 defenseman, right? Arguably, and you're adding a fourth line center. Like those are all things that we knew this Bruins team was absolutely going to miss, and not having these guys thrive during the preseason, it adds question marks. With that roster, without those guys thriving the way that they are right now, I thought that for sure they were a bubble team.
Yeah.
But I think with the emergence of these guys, now you're talking 4 full lines, and they play well together. They showed, we're early in the we haven't even started the regular season yet, but they showed good chemistry. I like what this team is doing. I'd be very happy to see Lorai in this lineup ahead of Zaboral and Forbert. And I think it's the best team you're going to put out there at this point.
Yeah,
It is.
and you're talking 4 great lines, and you still have depth and Providence to call up when some of the older guys might need a break or someone gets hurt. Like,
dude, you haven't even put in your top 2 forward prospects. You got them still down at Providence, Merkulov and Lysell, and that's a different discussion for another day. But I'm not going to knock, not right. We'll do that. Once the rosters come out and we can start talking that. That's a whole nother.
That's a whole other can of worms.
But yeah, dude, I'm really excited about this season. I really want to see some of this youth being, incorporated in the lineup, and I think it's gonna help the Bruins in the long run. 2, 3, 4 years down the road, they're gonna be thankful that they, these guys got the minutes that they did.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing too. It's they don't have to be all stars this year, but it's just the fact that they're getting their feet wet. And the other thing too, and then we can move on from the Bruins talk. But the other thing too is what we saw with guys like Frederick and DeBrusque, when Bruce Cassidy was here, was that they were never given this kind of opportunity, right? And when they were, it was maybe like 2 games, and then they were, sent to the 9th floor for 5, and then they were back for like another 2 games, and then up for 7. They never got that consistency. And Montgomery is the complete opposite, which is why I think Bruins fans who are still used to Bruce Cassidy's ways of treating younger players, I think that's why they're more on the side of no, he's for sure going back to juniors, like he needs to develop more. Like, and I understand that, and I'm not knocking you either if you have that perspective. I'm just thinking in terms of it's a new era with a new coach and a new way of thinking, and I think that's beneficial towards the younger guys like Lohrei, like Poitras, like Beecher, and I think for that reason they're going to be playing, and they are going to only get better.
Yeah, dude, you bring up Freddie, and Johnny Beecher was for me really trending in that direction, right?
Yep.
Like Providence year after year, he's Providence again. Like again, Freddie was buried in Providence, dude. Like again, when we drafted him from the University of Wisconsin, I believe. I hope I didn't fuck that up.
No, I'm pretty sure you're right. I'll Google it just in case, but
yeah, so I fact check me on that. But again, when we drafted him first round out of the University of Wisconsin, did we draft him to be a fucking 4th line fighter? No, we didn't. We knew that he had we knew that he had components to his game that were going to help this team. But again, you mentioned the Bruce Cassidy era. He was buried in Providence, and then again, when he would get in the lineup, he'd fuck up, right? He'd take a stupid penalty, whatever. Trying to be someone he's not, right? And again, I don't think he's not a 4th line grinder. We saw that last year with him playing with Charlie Coyle. He put up 17 goals, dude. Like he's no fucking slouch. So Johnny Beecher for me was trending in a very similar direction. Like, again, he wasn't getting the opportunities, and nor last year was such a deep team. It wasn't fit, and it made sense. I get it. This year, what better year, dude? There's that opening at 4C, and I think they're going to be thankful that they, gave him the opportunity. But again, we could go on all fucking day about Bruins talk, and we're going to have a ton of Bruins talk throughout the year, man. So I kind of want to transition a little bit. We got ton of news that broke just couple days, even today. Biggest probably out of all of it was Trevor Zegras debacle, right? Obviously he's been an RFA, hasn't been signed with the Ducks. Well, this week he signed a 3-year $5.75 million AAV deal. The 23 goals, 65 points, 81 games last year. He's 22 years old. He was a Calder finalist. What were your thoughts when you saw this contract? I know what my thoughts were. I'm curious what you were thinking when you saw this number.
Can you say the number again? I'm sorry. I was
sorry, dude. DB. Yeah, it was a 3-year, $5.75 million AAV.
I think that's fair. I actually think that's a fair value for both the team and the player. I mean, he's only got 3, not even 2, really 2 full seasons in the NHL. He's got 139 points over 180 games in his NHL career. I think the value is fair. It's going to give Anaheim the ability to, I mean, hopefully, if the front office gets their shit together, build an actual, NHL level hockey team. But I mean, they've got prospects coming up, getting ready to play. It gives Zegras enough time to kind of get another bag, right? Like really perform over the span of this contract, and then cash in wherever he wants. Because I believe at the end of that contract he'll be UFA. And if I'm wrong about that, someone fact check me. But either way, at the end of that contract, he's going to be able to sign again for a bigger number, hopefully in his case. But as of now, for the Ducks, I mean, that's what they need. If you're the Anaheim Ducks organization right now, you can't afford to lose guys like him. Albeit I don't like him as a player, and I really don't think that what he was demanding equaled his what he brings to the game. And I know he gets a lot of points, but he's also kind of it just seems like his ego is so big, right? And I'm not necessarily knocking that about him, but from the perspective of maybe locker room vibes, I don't know how tired that would get and how other guys would feel about that eventually. But I don't want to go on that too long because I don't know him personally. It's just based
Yeah.
on clips that I've seen and quotes that I've heard and stuff like that. But the value is good. Obviously, he's a gifted offensive player. The thing I worry about with his game is his two-way stuff. Is like at some point you would think he would kind of want to get away from all the trick shot stuff and really focus on 200 foot. If he's going to be Anaheim's number one center, you can't just be an offensive guy. Like you have to play a complete game. But
It's
overall, I think it's fair.
it's interesting you say that, the number one center thing, because I think Anaheim has a very strategic plan. I
Mhm.
don't think Trevor Zegras is their 1C. I
Right.
think with them drafting Leo Carlsson as high as they did, who is only a center, a legitimate center who also can play to, both ways.
True.
Um, I think you see Zegras more as a winger, like a left winger. If he stays, right? I mean, you saw Anaheim sign these big ticket deals for, Alex Killorn and
Yep.
Gudis, and so it makes me wonder. And again, I think it's a good deal for him too, dude. Like by the
Yeah.
time he signs his next deal, he's going to be 24, 25 years old. He's going to be able to cash in another fucking huge ticket.
Okay.
Say he stays on the pace that he's on, getting 60 points a year. Now he's probably going to play with a guy like Leo Carlsson. I haven't seen that he's gotten called down yet or sent down yet. Dude, I just can't imagine a scenario where he's not going to get a fucking bag in 3 years. Like I
Yeah.
think for what he's done so far, it's a very fair number. Um but I think I don't know if he's Anaheim's answer to as their 1C of the future. I don't know. It's a weird, especially with this whole thing that just happened, dude. Like we're talking
Right.
a week out from the season, he just signed a deal. Not to mention Jamie Drysdale hasn't even.
Drysdale.
Yeah, like
But before you go on, I just want to say this really quick to correct myself. A UFA in the NHL is if you're 27 or older, so he'll still be restricted. So he'll still be Anaheim
okay,
will get first dibs. But
which
continue.
which like at that point though, you're looking at him. Are they going to sign him? He's not going to want another deal to this magnet. At
Right.
this amount. And again, if he keeps to the trajectory that he's going on, consistent 60-point score, over 20 goals a year, like I don't know, like it just makes me wonder if Anaheim has an alternate plan why they only signed him to 3 years. It's just because then again, Killorn will be closer to getting off that deal.
Yep.
Gudis, they're gonna have a boatload of fucking cap space. So I don't know. It could go either way. They're maybe going to give them a bag once those contracts are off the books and they just want to kind of stay competitive right now. But you just saw Alex Killorn fucking out. He's going to be out for, I don't know if it was 6 weeks or what, but you got to think they're thinking Celebrini Iserman right now.
Yeah. And you got to think too in terms of you know putting yourself in Anaheim's front office's shoes at that time too. If you can't sign him as he's a restricted free agent when this deal is up, you still own his rights as a player. So it's not like he's unrestricted and he can just start talking to other teams. But if there's a sense that, as an Anaheim, is it Verbeek? Is Verbeek their GM?
I
I,
believe so.
I believe so. So if you're Pat Verbeek and you're getting the sense that you're not going to be able to sign him, but you still have the rights to him, the lane opens up to a trade. You can trade his rights to another team. Um, if he's unrestricted, he's just unrestricted. He can go wherever he wants. But
Yeah.
if at the end of this deal he'll be RFA, so you still own the rights. You can talk to him as long as you want. You can hold him there as long as you want. But if it's not going to end well, you have the option to deal him off and get at least something for him.
Yeah, it was crazy scenario, dude. This whole off season, like he was one of the big names. It wasn't a great class of free agents. Like looking at the UFAs and RFAs, I think he was probably towards the top of as far as like skilled players go. And it was pretty crazy how this all turned out, and it's even more crazy that we're seeing Drysdale still not signed.
I know.
Um, it makes me wonder what direction this team's going in. I don't know. I love what they have coming up as far as prospects go. Olin Zellweger,
Yep.
Jackson Lacombe. He had a solid year in college hockey. Again, Mintakov. I love what this team is doing. I think the pieces, there's a few pieces they're just not sure about, and there's got to be a reason for it, right? I mean, if they were sold on these two guys who are both very talented players, you would have thought that they'd have an extension in place,
right? Exactly, especially for a guy like Drysdale. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like I just can't for the life of me understand it. I know for the Bruins, I know where our right side of our defense is pretty solidified, but my God, would I love to have a Jamie Drysdale on that team, dude. Like, he's just fucking gross. Like, he's just so good. So yeah, it makes me wonder. I just don't know what direction this team's going, and you got to think they're in the Celebrini Yzerman sweepstakes, right? Like,
yeah, and I mean they still have John Gibson in net too, who's not even he's not as old as most people think.
no.
He's still in his 20s. I believe he's off the top of my head. I believe he's 28, maybe 29. But I mean, he's in his prime right now. That's an elite goalie. If you stick him on on a capable NHL team with a good defensive core, that's an elite goalie that can get you into the playoffs. You're right. They are in a weird spot, and it seems like management isn't handling these contracts and these players as well as they probably should be. Like you mentioned, Zegras just got signed. The season starts in a week. Jamie Drysdale still doesn't have a contract. What's the plan there? They're in a weird position right now with a good prospect pool, and you might be right. They might be going for another high draft pick this year, because they're for sure not going to compete for a Stanley Cup. That's not happening. But they're in a weird spot where they're more towards the bottom of the league, but they shouldn't necessarily be one of those, bottom feeders, I don't think.
Yeah, well, I mean, we kind of thought the same thing last year, though. You know what I mean? Like, you look
Right.
at this roster and you look at, like, the prospects they have coming up, like, they shouldn't be as bad as they are. And,
Right.
like, again, I don't know. It's hard to put my finger on what exactly this team is doing. And you got to think, man, like, as we get closer, like, as the season goes on, and we just both said that they're going to be fucking bottom feeders, in our opinion. Like, a guy like John Gibson is going to be super fucking enticing to teams come playoff time. You're like, again, you look at a team like, I don't know, top of my head, Toronto. Like,
Yep.
I don't know, just throwing that out there. Like, a team that
needs a goalie.
yeah, like, what better? Like, I'd give up a fucking first round in a heartbeat, dude.
Well, they have an issue with the Nylander contract right now too. You could maybe see something go down with Nylander, Gibson, and maybe Anaheim would throw someone else in, because obviously it's not just going to be Gibson for Nylander straight up.
What a blockbuster that would be.
Oh my God. And it's exactly what Toronto needs too. You already know they're top heavy offensively. They need a goalie.
We're going to have to save this clip, because I that's something I could really see come to fruition, dude. Like, it just makes too much sense logistically, right? For both teams.
Say it's like John Gibson, and they probably would want help on defense too. Say it's John Gibson and Radko Gudas for Alex Nylander, or John Gibson and
imagine Gudas going to a Leafs team with fucking with Revo.
Right? No, literally, and like, I mean, they added Bertuzzi too. They're looking to add that grit. I mean, you get an elite goalie in John Gibson, who's still young, something that Toronto's been missing since they traded the Bruins Tuukka Rask. Thank you very much. And they get a defenseman that they need too in Radko Gudas, and then they shed the money of Alex Nylander, and then boom, you kill like 7 birds with one stone.
Yeah. It makes too much sense, dude. And that's something that would be a fucking blockbuster.
Even a guy like Cam Fowler. I mean, something, dude. Some veteran leadership on that team too. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously just speculation, and neither of us are GMs. But I mean, just looking at the both teams' needs, and now imagine Nylander paired up with like Terry Zegers and Carlson. Come on,
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
on.
No, it gets me going. No, but dude, some other contract news. Going out west, out west from us. Minnesota signed Matt Zuccarello and Marcus Foligno. Zuccarello got a 2-year, $8.25 million deal. Marcus Foligno got a 4-year, $16 million deal. Obviously, do the math on that as far as AAV goes. These are, again, two signings that I love. I love watching these two guys play.
Yeah.
And I think these are both great numbers for Minnesota. Both are, they're gritty veterans. Matt Zuccarello had a solid year last year. What are your thoughts on this, on both of these signings?
So I'm looking at Marcus Foligno right now, right? It's something that Minnesota kind of needs, because obviously with the buyouts of Parise and Suter, kind of has them handcuffed for a little bit now. So they need to find value in these guys that they have. And Marcus Foligno is one of those guys. He plays physical. He can put up points. He can put up, he has the abilities to put up offensive numbers. Last year was a little bit of a down year for him. Obviously, he was dealing with some injuries during points of the season. His goal total dropped down heavily. I mean, the previous season before last, he put up 23. Last year, he only put up 7 with 14 assists for 21 points. That's not what you need to see out of a guy from Marcus Foligno, but that's also not the guy that you have. That's not Marcus Foligno. Marcus Foligno should be hovering around maybe 35 to 40 points a season, potting at least 15 goals, with his ability to play physical too, and kind of set the tone in certain games, right? And like you said, they don't have Revo anymore, so they don't really have that guy. So they're probably going to be looking at someone like Marcus Foligno to sort of fill that role, although nobody's going to fill Ryan Reeves' shoes. Nobody in the league is going to fill Ryan Reeves' shoes.
Yeah.
But I like the deal. I think it's smart for Minnesota. They got their guy, but Matt Zuccarello, what was Zuccarello's number again?
It was a 2-year, $8.25 million. So split that in half.
Boom. That's a great deal.
It is a great deal.
He's borderline averaging around like 60 points a season. If you really total them all together, just doing that off the top of my head, right around there. He had 67 last year, 20 goal scorer his past 2 years, 24 and 22, 55 and 45 assists. It's a good deal for Minnesota. It's a veteran guy, and like I said too, they're cap crunch right now, so they need to find these value signings, and that's a value signing. Veteran leadership, can put up points, can help lead this team on the power play. I'm pretty sure he can play PK too, but I mean, that's contracts like that is exactly what Minnesota needs. And obviously you pair him up with a guy like Kaprizov, they're gonna do some damage.
Yeah, Zuccarello, he has 1 year remaining on his 5-year, $30 million contract that he signed in 2019.
Yep.
This past season, he's coming off a 67-point season, getting 22 goals and a team high 45 assists. So, dude, that's a steal of a contract. I know he's getting older, but like, again, it's one of those things like you know what you have in Zuccarello. He's a fucking pest to play against. Yep. He kills penalties. He puts the puck in the net. And again, you're going to put him with a guy like, who knows? I mean, I'm not sure exactly what their combination of lines look like. They've got Matt Boldy. They've got Kaprizov. They've got young guys that pairing with a guy like Matt Zuccarello, I think is something that really is going to help them take off even more than they have. And I think Boldy and Kaprizov have already taken off. I mean, I love both of their games, dude.
Yeah. So like you said, you weren't sure what their lines were, but I can tell you right now, Daily Faceoff, one of the best hockey websites that
for sure
anyone can utilize. So if you didn't know it, not you, but like people listening, if you didn't know about it, definitely check it out. But right now, Daily Faceoff has their lines as Kirill Kaprizov, Ryan Hartman, Matt Zuccarello. solid. Second line,
I love Ryan Hartman, dude.
He's another one of those value guys that just he plays the game. He plays the game the way that it should be played.
Absolutely.
Second line, Marcus Johansson, Joel Eriksson, another underrated guy, and Matthew Boldy. Great line right there too. Boldy could pop off. Third line, Marcus Foligno, Marco Rossi, Frederick Gaudreau. Fourth line, Pat Maroon, Connor Dewar, and Brandon Duhaime. Not bad.
Not to my ADHD is kind of taking over, but kind of the fact that they're pairing, or according to Daily Faceoff, which again, if you guys don't know about it, go check it out. Like, an unbelievable tool to use. Yeah. Putting a guy like Foligno with a Marco Rossi who hasn't fully come into his own since being a high first round pick, I love that. That's exactly what these teams are doing. They're putting veteran talent, right? Guys who have been in the league, fucking dominate, right? This Marcus Foligno Rossi combination is awesome. Like, again, that's how you get players to learn the game and to play the game the right way. What better guy to learn from than a Marcus Foligno? Right?
Like you can't put Rossi with Boldy. Like, on paper, that's phenomenal. But when you're actually on the ice, like, who are they going to learn from? They're both kind of coming into the league right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we talked about the protector aspect of things, right?
Yeah.
What I love is the fact that Marco Rossi is going to be able to go out and play his game, right? The game that got him to where he is, right? To be a high draft pick for Minnesota.
Yep.
Put him on a line with Foligno. Anyone fucks with Rossi, dude, you're gonna have Foligno at you. And if we're talking guys that strike fear in the league, 5 guys, Marcus Foligno is right at that top 5, without a doubt in my mind. Like, again, he sticks up for his teammates. He plays the game the right way. Having him on a line with Rossi, it's going to allow Rossi to play his game, right? To create offense and do what got him to that point. I love it. I love both of these signings. They're just value deals.
Yeah, no, it's great. Bill Guerin is what he has to work with and what he has to work around with those buyouts of Parise and Suter. He's doing a phenomenal job of actually putting a competitive hockey team out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we mentioned their back end too. I love their decor that they got going. Like,
and I think Gustafsson and Fleury too in net.
Yeah, solid goalie tandem. They got Brock Faber joined he joined them last year. I love his game. He's a solid defenseman. And again, you mentioned Billy Guerin, like, really, really doing, phenomenal things with those 2 horrible well, they weren't horrible at the time, but now it's kind of come back to bite them in the ass. But so I guess we can agree these are both great signings, and congrats to both of them. Both kind of towards the tail end of their careers, I guess.
Yeah.
The back half or whatever. Call it what it is. But yeah, so kind of transitioning, dude. Our favorite talking prospects and rookies. And throughout training camp, throughout this preseason, a couple of rookies have really made made some noise, made their case to make the NHL teams. And couple things that happened today. Quentin Musty signed his entry-level deal with the San Jose Sharks. Obviously, San Jose had an unbelievable first round. He was taken alongside Will Smith, who's going to be playing at BC this year. If he makes this team, he is so sick. And the fact that he went in the 20s even is crazy to me. You and I were talking about it beforehand, and even like months ago, right around draft time, we loved this pick. I did. I think we looked at it too, and we were like, not that we forgot about him, but like when they finally made the announcement that San Jose selects Quentin, we were like, wait, how the fuck he's still there?
Yeah.
Like, it was one of those, I thought in my mind he was already gone. So I'm like, I didn't even really, but then when they made the announcement, when Mike Greer, I was like, holy shit, they got him in the 26, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, alongside Will Smith. Like, Mike Greer, dude, he's wheeling and dealing. And, obviously huge congratulations to to Musty, and it's so sick, dude. And I think he's another guy that, you know, he could have a solid rookie season. What were your thoughts on this deal and him making it this far?
Yeah, I liked it. It's just unfortunate that he has to play on this dumpster fire of a Sharks team right now. Because we were just talking like about Rossi, right? Like you for these young guys to really um almost have a jump start, right? In their pro career, you want to pair him up with a veteran. Like, I guess you could maybe play him with Hurdle. That like, but like Couture, yeah. But outside of that, like, you know who? Yeah, hey, jump on Daily Face Off right now because I need to know. But
shout out to Daily Face Off.
Yeah, those are the only two that really jump out to me initially. Because you know there's not too many guys on the Sharks that, when you think about the Sharks, jump right into your head, right?
No, not at all.
But I mean, the kid's great, and like you said, the way that he dropped down to the late 20s was insane to me. That's a great pick for San Jose. He's going to do great things.
So, kind of interesting. They don't even have Musty as in the lineup right now, which I'm not sure if they just haven't added or what.
I think they haven't added it yet because the Bruins daily face-off, they don't have Poitras.
Makes sense.
Well, that makes sense. But Buffalo also doesn't have Zach Benson. So
okay, so a couple of names like right from the jump, like Thomas Hurdle, yeah, you mentioned Barbanov. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mike Hoffman, Couture, Anthony Duclair. Another name that's kind of interesting to me, looking at someone who kind of needs a jump start in his career, is Philip Zadina.
Yep.
That would be interesting. I don't know. Oscar Lindblom. I love Oscar Lindblom, dude. Shout out Oscar Lindblom. Like, that story is still unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple. I mean, none really jump out at me, but from what I'm reading and what I've seen, I think he deserves to make this club. Like, again, could he benefit from a year in the minors? I guess, but with how bad this team is, why not let him? Why not let him play, dude? Like,
yeah, take this Zetterlund guy out of there and put in Musty. Like, sorry, but
Marco Sturm. I mean, I don't know, dude. Like, like, no, but I don't know. Like, I kind of, it's my way of thinking, and you think very similarly. Like, these, and it's just the older way of thinking. Like, yep, he has experience, he has NHL minutes. Yep, have this young kid earn what, dude? The kid, he just got drafted in the earn what? What the fuck does he need to earn? Like, again, put him in. The way that you're going to develop these kids and develop their games is by them playing NHL minutes. That's it. Right. There's nothing to be earned. You're telling me this dude's confidence with a guy like Zetterlund, and I don't know, dude. Like, I would put him in there. Give him NHL minutes. Have him play against these guys. Like, it's only going to help him in the long run.
Right, exactly. It's like you're not going to lose anything. You're not. If you're a Sharks fan, you're not going anywhere this year. Nowhere. Yeah. The only place you're going is to the lottery machine, and you hope your ball gets picked first because you're not going to do jack shit this year. I'm sorry.
You are in the Macklin Celebrini sweepstakes.
Yes. Heavy in the Macklin Celebrini.
Yeah, dude. Another guy I want to bring up, obviously I know you're going to get going with this Buffalo Sabres talk.
I was just smiling at the camera because I already have their lineup pulled up on Daily Face. It's so nice.
Yeah, but man, so today they made their I don't know if it's their last round of cuts, but Yuri Kulich and Isaac Rosen were both sent down.
Yep.
Which this means that Zach Benson is still on this roster. Dude, this kid is gross. Like, I said it from day one. I knew the fact that he fell to 13, and we talked about this, dude, on our draft episode. I, for the life of me, didn't understand.
Nope, I didn't either.
And 13 overall for this guy, and he's still on the Sabres roster, and I think he's going to be a huge difference maker for this team. I think the way that he plays the game, he's absolutely fucking electric, dude. Like, and I think we're gonna be talking about him by the end of the year in the Calder. He's gonna be in the Calder
Oh yeah.
considerations for sure. There's no doubt in my mind.
I'm looking at their lineup right now.
Mhm.
It's hard to justify moving any of these guys out because Benson plays left, right? Is he center? He can play center too.
Can play center. I think he's
Prefers
more.
the wing though.
I think he's more comfortable on the wing.
It's like you're not going to move Skinner. Probably not going to move JJ Peterka. Jordan Greenway is the perfect third line banger. Zemgus Girgensons, I guess you can move, and I maybe put Greenway on the fourth line, but like they're just loaded, dude. It's like some of these guys, like yes, Benson should be playing 100%, but you look at the lineup and it's like, okay, even on the right side, you're not going to move Tuck, obviously. You're not going to move Middlestat, obviously. Probably not going to move Olofsson, and you're not going to move Okposo. Like, what spot is Benson going to take? I guess you move Greenway down to the fourth, and you put Benson on either the third or second. I don't know.
There's a factor that you're missing in this, and it's the fact that Matty Savoy he's been injured.
That's a good point too.
Matty Savoy, when he comes back, what I see happening is a scenario of Savoy and Benson being line mates. They have been for years now. Their chemistry is literally off the charts. They know each other. Like, I'm telling you, dude, during that prospect challenge, they were the two best prospects there. And it wasn't close. And yes, Poitras was there, by the way. There were a lot of, like, again, and this isn't a knock on him or any of the other prospects, but from what I saw, dude, they were the two best there. And it wasn't close for me.
Yeah, and you can't teach chemistry either. It's just all natural.
Right. And we're talking back on the Winnipeg Ice days, you know, with these guys both playing there. Now, I wonder if there's a scenario where those two guys are a third line, second line type thing, and you put a Okposo or you put a Jeff Skinner, right? I don't know. I'm curious what your thoughts are. I think it's you mentioned a couple guys that are, they're Greenway's, he's good. But again, we're talking about two future NHL superstars that, they're young, they're rookies this year, but they deserve to be in that Buffalo Sabres lineup. They're electric, dude. That crowd for a prospect challenge, it was full house to see these guys.
Yeah. I'm just thinking along the lines of like how you want to build your lineup, right? Because you need to have the NHL has shifted from needing a quote unquote fighter, right?
Yes.
To needing just like somebody in there who plays heavy. He can protect the puck. He can bang bodies. Yeah, you just need bangers. And that's what Jordan Greenway and Girgensons are. So it's like when you're building the lineup and you're building your roster, you have to be careful. In my opinion, you have to be careful of having a good mix of those skill guys mixed in also with those guys who are throwing their weight around. You don't want to be too heavy on either side. You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask you this question then. What about a guy like Jordan Greenway on that line?
That would be fine too. They just have so many options.
Yeah, I mean, you can fuck with the combinations any way you want, and obviously Kevin Adams is going to be making the majority of those decisions.
What if you put Benson? What if you moved Peterka and you put Benson on the line with Cousins and Middlestat? That is a disgusting second line.
It is, but I don't see a scenario. I don't know, dude. I think it's weird for me, right? The way that I look at it, with all the college teams, with all the junior teams, and you took two guys consecutive years that were line mates.
Yeah.
Right? I
totally see that. 100%.
Could be a coincidence. Yeah, but I really think that they saw something special and they were put in the perfect opportunity to make they were put in the perfect situation to capitalize on this opportunity.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. I think if Savoy is out of the lineup for a significant amount of time, yeah, that would be a gross line.
Yeah.
But I think for the future, and especially for this year, I can't imagine a scenario where they split those two up, especially with them being teammates as long as they have. And I don't know. And again, do you move some of those pieces to add someone else on the back end? I don't know.
They are so deep. It's actually insane.
It
Like
is.
like Peyton Krebs, you can't take him out of the lineup. Tyson Jost, you probably don't want to move him out. Like
No.
what the
It's
what the hell, Buffalo?
it's a matter of it's about finding that happy medium of having great talent as well as depth. Now, do you move some of those depth pieces to add better talent on your back end? Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, you could move a guy like Tyson Jost or a Paterka or I don't know, dude. They are loaded, and I was not kidding when I said
Yeah.
Boston and Buffalo right now are like close, at least on paper, right?
Oh,
and that could completely come back to bite me in the ass for saying that. But
dude, I'm pretty sure they only missed they missed the playoffs by like 2 or 3 points last year?
yeah,
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, like I was saying it at the end of the season. They're not a team that you can just walk all over anymore. They're a legit good team, and you have Devin Levi and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen in net with Owen Power, Rasmus Dahlin, and Connor Clifton. I'll go Owen Power and Rasmus Dahlin on your back end, really anchoring that.
and Connor Clifton.
Yeah, I don't know why I threw Connor Clifton in there. But they have something special. And maybe if you want to add to that defensive unit and you want to bring in Benson and Savoy full time, maybe you can ship off some of those guys that, are going to have their spots taken and get another defenseman in there to really help out.
Yeah, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I would say their left side of their defense is pretty solidified. You've got Dahlin, you've got Power, and
Samuelson.
Did they ship Labushkin off?
I believe so because he's not in this. Don't forget about Jack Quinn. Jack Quinn is out right now. Jack Quinn is another guy, dude.
He's gonna sit at the right wing. So dude, I could see maybe them going grabbing a right shot defenseman. Someone that I don't know.
Because right now their right side defense is Connor Clifton, Henry Jokiharju, and then Eric Johnson. That's their right side.
Which I don't hate.
Don't hate, but it could be improved with all the assets they have.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about potential, and obviously, you and I can bullshit all day about potential trades and stuff, but yeah, I don't know, dude. I'd like for them to add a right shot defenseman because although, Eric Johnson's probably he's towards the end of his career, but you could package any one of those, or not one, multiple of those guys and still have phenomenal depth on that team.
And right now the Sabres have no way is that right. Oh my God. Right now the Sabres have $8.7 million in cap space.
Yeah, but remember they're going to have to sign Power coming up. But Cousins.
Right now, for this moment right now, they have that money to play around with. So
I wonder if they fuck around with the LTIR this year too.
Maybe they might, dude. I think a lot of teams are gonna do that again.
I know, we've had a lot of Buffalo talk, so I don't know if you want to go check your trousers or, but yeah, dude, I'm fired up for them. Like they're gonna be so fun to watch.
Yeah, they are.
They're gonna be so fun. But obviously, you and I have been playing nonstop NHL 24. Man, I had a messy bun day today for sure. And
I have the day off from work tomorrow. I already know what I'm doing. If I don't find myself on a golf course somehow, I'm firing this thing up all day.
You're gonna lock yourself in the room with the piss bucket.
Oh yeah.
But what are your thoughts on it so far, dude? It was hard for me to get used to like the passing, dude. Like I just was like kind of fucking around with it and I was getting so pissed off. But the more I played and I kind of got used to it, and like I already know I haven't even played online yet, but I know the nonstop Michigans are gonna fucking piss me off. And how
I'm not
easy it is now. And how easy it is now.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I fucking love everything about this game. Right now, I love everything about
Yeah.
this game. I've played a couple of online games, some drop-ins for EA SHL. I'm gonna tell you, 0 Michigans, almost 0
Really?
any of those kill shots, because it's as easy as it seems with the buttons. It's hard to get your player in that position with enough space and time. Yeah,
Yeah.
the timing is very, very difficult. So having them take away, like, because guys like, I don't know, just guys like Nasher, Tic Tacs, all these NHL streamers, whatever.
Yeah.
The way they did it with the skill stick, they had it hemmed in. If you had that, then you had it. But making this available with the button, but making it so difficult with the timing, I think evens the playing field. And I'm gonna say, and maybe it changes in the future, but it doesn't seem to happen as often as you would think. The skating is amazing. The skating feels so good, dude.
Yes.
The pressure system that you have, I love. The hip checks are a little OP. I'm gonna say that the hip checks are a little OP, but I love using them.
I was gonna say that's my favorate part, dude. I toss
Dude,
those
it's
around
awesome.
all the times, dude. Yeah.
I haven't broken the glass yet. I've sent a couple people over the boards. What else was I gonna say? I was gonna say something else about the game. I lost it, but overall, the goalies, the goalie fatigue system and the saves. It seems like, you know how when you used to play games in franchise mode or just play now, whatever.
Yeah.
The other team would shoot like 12 times and they'd have 4 or 5 goals. That doesn't seem to be happening. It seems to be like that. It's actually the numbers, even against the CPU, are very realistic. The shot totals are pretty even, and I think that has to do with the pressure system. Everything about this game I love right now. I really, really do.
First thing I did, obviously, was fire up a dynasty with the Bruins.
Yeah.
Although I was disappointed to see that Lowry wasn't in the game yet.
Mm-hmm.
Our buddy Trevor Kuntar wasn't in the game. I was ready for him to put up 60 in my franchise.
Yeah.
I loved it, dude. I was having so much fucking fun with it, dude. I couldn't put it down. And you mentioned it, like it just seems much more realistic as far as like the shot totals and like the the CPU scoring. It just seems like it's a very in EA, in NHL, they said it before, dude. They were taking the critiques, the criticism that they got from NHL 23, and it seems like they really have incorporated that, those recommendations. They've really took it to heart, and they put out a great product. And you see the people. I go look at the comments just because I was curious on NHL, and same old shit, different year. And I absolutely could not disagree more with those people that say that.
Dude, if those people are saying that, then they haven't even touched the game yet, or they
haven't bought the game yet.
Yeah, that, or they're just like hating, and it's like, dude, what more? This is I've said this a couple times to like Mel and Connor, but this is the most different feeling NHL video game probably in the last 10 years, to be literally 100% honest.
I literally was gonna say that. I would literally I can go back 10 years where I've noticed this significant of a jump and improvement.
Yes, right. That's the other thing too.
It's an improvement. It's not
an improvement. Like they changed it up and it's totally new and it's better. And if you're like, I've seen people complaining about the battle pass or whatever. Like, why? Don't complain. Then just don't buy anything. It's not that hard. Don't buy anything. Don't give EA your money. Yeah, they're just crying, dude. And I'm 26 and I'm excited about this game, dude. I'm
28. I'm still excited,
dude. I'm pumped up. This is I don't like. This is not. We don't get paid by EA or anything like that. We're literally just pumping this game up because it's that good. And if you're on the fence about buying it, don't buy the X Factor edition. Just buy the normal version. And I promise you, you're gonna be surprised. it's so much different. It's so much better. It actually feels like a brand new game and not just a
Yeah.
roster update.
Yeah, everything about it, it's just smooth. And like you just said, if you're on the fence about buying it, we're not in partnership with EA or NHL at all. Just two dudes who love playing shell, and I
Yeah.
will till I'm 6 feet under.
Right. Yeah.
So if you're on the fence, and even then, I'll probably still be buried with it, dude.
I was gonna say, bury me with a copy of the newest NHL game and a controller. That's all
Yeah,
I need.
dude. So, like I said, if you're on the fence about buying it, give it a shot. Significantly different, and EA and NHL, they've done a phenomenal job of taking everyone's recommendations, taking the critiques, and just fully improving everything about it. So, yeah, that's our NHL rant for today. I'm sure we'll have much more as the season goes on, but.
Yep.
That wraps up episode 15 of Drop the Mitts Hockey Podcast, brought to you in partnership with Primetime Productions. If that's all you got, Mikey, that's all I got.
Yeah. I mean, by the time we drop the next episode, the regular season will be underway.
Yep.
So, looking forward to the end of the preseason here, getting some solidified lineups, seeing what rookies really start to crack opening night NHL rosters is going to be awesome to see. It's going to be a fun season. I think there's going to be a lot of surprises. The Calder race is going to be insane.
Yep.
Surprise teams, surprise players. And I'm just excited to oh my god, I am so excited to get into it, dude. It's going to be such a good year. Yeah, I'm just excited, and stick with us for the rest of the year because we'll be doing this weekly. So yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, and also be sure to stay tuned for a lot of college hockey stuff. We got a lot of good schools around Mikey and I. So gonna try to be making as many games as I can. Obviously, we got Lowell near us. Boston isn't far from us. UMass Amherst. We got all these teams that we're gonna be bringing you a bunch of college hockey content as well. So definitely stay tuned for that. But other than that, let's get ready for the season, bro. Let's fucking do it. And that's it for the episode 15. Take care, guys.
Take care.
Welcome back to Drop the Mitts Hockey Podcast, brought to you in partnership with Primetime Productions. We are here with Providence College forward Riley Duran, and Bruins prospect for that matter. Riley, how you doing, buddy? How's the college year going? How's life been?
Doing good. It's ready to get going with the season. Playing a couple days now, so kind of been a long preseason and ready to get the games going.
Yeah, obviously you gotta, you lost a couple players, couple good guys, Parker Ford. Obviously we were just talking about, Pat Moynihan going to Notre Dame. What is your guys' expectations for this upcoming season?
Yeah, I think we'll be a different team. We got 4 lines this year that can really go. We had some good transfers come in, and our freshman class looks really solid. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I just think we're not gonna beat teams 4-0, but I bet we'll win games 2-1. We're just gonna find ways to win games.
Yeah, man. I'm looking at your elite prospects page right now. First year Providence, 29 games played, 8 goals, 12 assists, 20 points. Coming into your second season here, what are you looking to build off of that from? How are you trying to improve? Maybe get some more points. What are you looking to build off of last year?
Well, last year it was battling injury, so it was kind of in and out of the lineup, and kind of learned a lot for myself after doing that last year. And yeah, I'm looking just to play and see how that goes. It's, being an older guy now, you just gotta get used to having kind of that thing that's like, all right, it's your time to go. And like when the big goals come, it should be one of the older guys, and hopefully it is one of the younger guys, but just that more responsibility I'm excited for.
Yeah, obviously the Hockey East is fucking loaded this year. A lot of people coming in. What some of the teams that obviously you got the BUs, the BCs. What is your favorite barn to play at besides Providence? Like what Are there any barns that are like wild with as far as like student sections go? Any others that are like more hostile than others?
My favorite rink is probably I like playing at the Conti Forum. I like playing at BC just because my whole family goes, all the people from my town go. That's cool, but probably the most nuts one is UMaine.
Really?
No shit.
Oh my god.
That's all they fucking got up there.
Yeah. They're like upper deck kind of thing is like right at ice level. Yeah. So it feels like people are like on top of you. So it's really cool. That's all they got up there. But
that's sick. I gotta catch a UMaine game this year.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I never would have thought UMaine. Honestly, that was like one of the last I thought. I even would have thought like UVM.
Yeah.
No,
they're all stoned, dude.
Yeah. They don't know if they're watching hockey or watching basketball.
They don't know. Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned your family's from the area. You're from Woburn. I want to talk to you about, obviously you got drafted 6th round 2020 to the Boston Bruins. Can you talk to us about what you remember from that day, like the process leading up to it? And then, finally hearing your name called. What was that like, dude? Like for both of us, we're both from Mass also. So like, obviously it's surreal to even think about. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it was, it was unbelievable. Just being a Bees fan my whole life. And just like, just got to Youngstown. We were probably a couple weeks in, and I had talked to a bunch of teams, but kind of didn't want to get my hopes up too much because, so I was going through that day. I was with my Boston buddies I was playing with in Youngstown. We went golfing and just trying to distract myself. And finally got home, probably like the start of the 5th round. We watched for a bit, went out, ate dinner, and then I got a call. And, from there it was pretty cool. It was just so crazy just to think about that. And I did talk to them a bit, but not as much as I thought. And yeah, it's really truly a dream come true getting picked, but especially by Boston, it was like unbelievable.
That's wild, dude. Yeah. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, man. Like mentioning too that you were a Bruins fan for your whole life growing up. Did you have anybody specifically like in that era of Bruins hockey that you watched a little closer than others to kind of learn little, like intangibles from their game? Just kind of try to model yourself after them?
Yeah. I would say like, honestly, like my whole life was Bergie.
Yeah.
You kind of got to just think about that and like how he plays. He's so poised, but you also got to go back to like the 2011 when they won the cup, and it's like that 4th line with like Kelly and all them.
Fuck yeah, dude!
So
they
good,
lit it up in the playoffs that year. That was really cool, and just kind of that hard-nosed Bruins mentality is just kind of where I try to frame my game after.
Yeah, that's still one of my all-time favorite lines. That 4th line, like there will never be another line like that, especially like first thing that comes to mind is fucking Greg Campbell breaking his leg blocking that shot. Yeah. That dude just does not want to come off the ice. Like that 4th line was unbelievable. But going back to your draft experience, what were the other teams that you would talk to, and did you have any like bizarre interview questions? We ask like pretty much everyone we talk to. Like we've had some pretty hilarious ones where just outlandish draft questions from like GMs, and I'm wondering if you had any of those experiences.
Not that I remember. Like I don't know. I just wasn't that like crazy. I've heard some crazy ones too, so I can't really relate to like the nuts ones. But I just remember like a couple of teams. It's just it's kind of like personal in a way, and it's like they really break you down and tell you. You really got to get into it because they want the right answers and they want the true answers too, and they know if you're telling the truth or not. So it's kind of like, yeah, those were pretty nerve wracking.
Yeah,
like, you're like, oof, oh my god, I got away with that one, But yeah, it was really cool that whole process.
Yeah, I was trying to remember who was the Sully, who was the one with Stevie Y? He was talking about pot smoking and whatever. At the time that he smoked pot, like literally as a teenager, and Stevie Y brought it up. Like, can you imagine that shit, dude? I'd be fucking shitting myself.
I know.
He was like a college kid too.
Yeah, like Stevie
Yeah,
Y out of everybody
dude,
asking
I
you
can't
that
remember,
question,
like,
fuck.
Can you imagine how much that would like just throw you off your game? And then he
was-
just like probably would go back into hockey stuff, and your brain is just in a fucking blender.
Yeah.
Like he was probably from Vermont.
So, dude, yeah, you have a few development camps under your belt. Obviously, this past development camp, you were one of the older guys. What were the differences from one of your first development camps to this most recent one? Kind of, what were your takeaways? What did you learn? And what were some of the differences?
Yeah, I mean, from my first dev camp to this year, it's kind of lots happened. It's kind of makes me feel old, but I just think it's like going in my first year, I was just like, this is a good thing. Let me play against some older guys here, get ready for college. Then this year, it's just kind of like, all right, let me lead in a way and just kind of be a role model to the younger guys because I was in their shoes. And yeah, just that whole week is just trying to get better. You're in midsummer, just trying to get in shape again after not doing practice since, what was it, like 3 or 4 months?
Yeah. You're
just trying to get going again. And that after that, it's kind of off from there. It's like, all right, it's season mode now. And yeah, it was really, that week is just unbelievable, being from Boston too. It's just, if I need anything, I can drive home 15 minutes and home 15 minutes. Mom makes dinner and then come back and showing all the boys around the north end. It's cool.
Yeah, I remember. So kind of funny story. So literally, I went to development camp for the first time like ever, and I was literally had no idea what I was doing, just watching you guys, whatever. So I won't name names, but like I was left by myself there, like up in the media room. I'm sitting next to like fucking Joe Haggerty and like Connor Ryan, Tyan. I had no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And we go down to the locker room, and I'm just like looking around like fucking lost. And dude, I saw you just chilling there. I was like, maybe I'll go try to interview this guy. I recognized you obviously from Providence and whatever. And that was like my first ever interview I did. And I go back and watch it now, and it's just so fucking hilarious because you're like looking at me like, what is this dude doing? Like, he has no fucking clue. So it was so funny because everyone's obviously crowded around like all the other, whatever. And I just was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to go see what Riley's up to. And yeah, obviously came a long way, but I thought that was hilarious,
It was funny.
Yeah, man. So you mentioned the off season too. So like obviously the 2 to 3 months, kind of away from the game a little bit. Do you find like off ice sessions to train at? Do you play other sports? Like, do you try to get away from the game, or do you still kind of maintain that training regimen?
So I'd say like the springtime here, kind of try to stay off the ice. I mean, there's only so much you can do. Like, I can only go so many days, so many weeks without skating, just because it's a good sweat. It's just, I hate being away from the game for so long. And I'd just say during the summer, like playing on the beach, pickleball, like playing all these sports, basketball with all my buddies, and golf. We're big golfers. So just like playing those games. But yeah, I try to stay on the ice. Once probably June hits, you get going again. A couple days a week.
How's the golf game, dude?
It's all right. I mean, one day I'll shoot like an 84. Next day it's like fucking 94, and you're like, what's going on?
I'd be amped up to shoot a 94.
The most frustrating sport in the world, dude.
Yeah,
one day you're having a blast, and then the next day you're just like, get me off of this course right now.
I just like being honest. I like to compete of it. That's the thing. You're in off season. You and your buddies are, all right, let's pay for dinner. Who's paying for dinner tonight,
Yeah.
What's your favorite course to play at in Mass?
I'm not sure. So I have a couple buddies from Marblehead. My buddy Kyle Fury, he played with me from like club growing up all the way through high school, juniors. He's a member down at Tedesco Country Club.
Oh, nice.
Down in Marblehead. Oh, it's beautiful down there. So if I'm nice to him, he'll bring us out there.
Yeah.
See, but yeah, that's probably one of my favorite. Love going down there. Beautiful down there too.
Yeah, my brother-in-law is from down there, and yeah, he's played down there. He hasn't invited me yet, so I guess I gotta be nicer to him. But
you gotta break 94. That's what you gotta do.
that ain't happening.
Yeah, bring out a hockey stick.
Yeah, dude, it's a Happy Gilmore.
I'm still rocking my my top flights from about 10 years ago, so I might need an upgrade. But this past summer, you skated at you were playing with the Mike Hardman, all those guys. Dude, the school is literally, what school is that you guys were playing at? Why can't I think of the name of it? Their Academy, yeah. So obviously you got to play with all those guys, in that summer league. I got the chance to go watch you guys a couple times in that small ice surface. With just all of you guys are talented, you know what I mean? And then to compact it in that small area, what was it like skating with those guys this summer?
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. It was my second summer doing that. My buddy from Woburn, Mark Gackholm, he plays in Abbotsford now. He gotten in, and we've just been doing it the past 2 summers. But the competition's unbelievable there. I mean, you just got to keep your stick on the ice, and the puck's going on your stick,
Yeah.
So, yeah, just doing that once a week. I mean, I wish it was more, but doing that once a week is awesome.
Yeah, it's a pretty good turnout too, as far as like people watching that. Like this was the first summer. I was texting with Mikey, and he was like, "Yeah, you got to come check it out." Like obviously, like Coyle was playing. Like just the competition was unreal, and how fast you guys think the game. It's like 4 and 5 steps ahead of everyone else. And
they're always close. The games are always close too, which is like the cool thing. It's never like a blowout. So they always keep it close.
Yeah, it was kind of funny with those guys because you have the people that show up with like books of cards, and I told this story on the last one, dude, where with Mike Hardman, and I was walking up to him to like go say hi to him or whatever, and I got absolutely buried by this 60-year-old guy with like a fucking full book of cards, just buries me into the glass, and I'm like, okay, dude, but yeah, it was so crazy to watch like how fast you guys are. I think even just in that small ice surface, it just goes to show like how skilled you guys actually are. Because with the big ice surface, obviously guys are fast, but when you kind of compact it, it just goes to show how smart you guys are and how fast you have to think. You have to know where that puck's going. So it was crazy competition.
Yeah, it is. It's a great skate. One of the best skates of the summer for sure. It's tough to get there on Mondays at like 5 o'clock though. On 93, you gotta go through the city. It's like
no chance, dude. And I was driving from Littleton, and one day like it took me, I forgot how long. It was like almost 2 hours to get there.
Crazy.
And just a shit show in traffic, dude. I'm getting.
But on the way back, it's only like 30 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, again, like I finally got to the rink. I'm like fucking drenched in sweat because I'm so pissed off from all the freaking Boston drivers. And I'm but yeah, it was awesome. And I honestly, next year, I hope to catch more games, with you guys playing in them.
Yeah. So Riley, I saw too, obviously, some players have a reason why they pick their jersey number. Sometimes it's just given to them. Other times, sometimes it's sentimental or just meaningful to you. Is there a reason why you picked number 8 as your number?
Not really. Kind of been all over the map with numbers throughout my life. But growing up, I was 9. One down from that is 8. So I said, hey, screw it. Take that. But yeah, not a lot of value to it. It's just work for me, and yeah, it's a good number.
Yeah. Are there any guys in the that are playing in the NHL now that you kind of try to emulate your game after, or are there any players that you kind of look at and you try to play similar to? I know obviously you want to play your own game, but guys that you see similarities in your own game?
I try to look at Coyle just through ever since he's been to Boston. I've tried to just think his game because he plays hard. He plays 200 feet. His penalty killing's great. His face-offs are great. he really plays a great game, and I just try to, especially skating with him at that the 3-on-3, it's just kind of just take away those little things. He's unbelievable at protecting the puck, so just those little things you kind of try to take away from him. And like at Dev Camp, you see him in the gym, and it's really cool just being like around him and seeing all that stuff, because just kind of been watching him for the past five years now. So yeah, he's probably my number one guy I keep looking at.
Yeah, you bring up him at development camp working out or in whatever. And are there any guys on the current Bruins team right now that have kind of been mentored to you and kind of have helped you along the way?
I mean, Mike Callahan, he just got sent down to Prob, but he had a great camp, I heard, and he was my captain my freshman year. And I mean, he's such a role model, that guy. It's crazy. He was a great captain, and he's just so dialed in on everything he does. He's great at practice every day. He plays hard, and every game he plays hard. He always does the right thing. So yeah, I look after him. Mark McLaughlin was always there too since my first year, and being a Bill Ricka kid, we get along well, and playing him at BC, he's tough to play against. So
yeah,
just all of them. It's really cool being around all those guys, and once in a while we'll see those guys roaming around at night around here, and just to hang out with them is pretty cool.
Sully, you got any other questions?
I got nothing else, Chris. If you got something else,
I have a few more questions. I saw that you played in the World Juniors, obviously, and you put up really good numbers through 5 games. What was it like playing in that tournament? Because obviously, like, I think it's a bigger tournament for as far as like kids from Canada, but I know, like, obviously hockey fans in general I know for me, I love watching that tournament every year. Sully, the same thing. What was it like playing in that tournament? Obviously you're playing dudes from all over, different countries, the best of the best. What was it like playing in that tourney?
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, it was unbelievable playing with all those guys too, like Nyes, Cooley. Like, it is really crazy. Growing up, never really kind of stayed local, because you don't gotta leave Boston to play good hockey,
right?
So that was actually my first time ever going to Canada, and then we're playing against the Swedish team, and people are speaking another language, and you're like, what the hell is going on?
They're chirping you in different languages.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what that means. Yeah, it was cool being around all those guys, and especially it was a little weird because it was in the summer, but yeah, it was unbelievable just playing against those guys, practicing with those guys. It's really cool.
Yeah, you got the chance to. You played against Bedard, right?
No, I never played against them.
Oh man, I was gonna say, because they won gold that year, and I didn't know if you guys had played Canada. I kind of was looking quick, but I didn't know if you had the chance to play against that guy, because he's obviously
we got
right
upset
now.
Pretty good first round.
Yeah,
we lost to Czech. It was a good game, but some big boys, they trapped us pretty good.
Yeah, the games were fairly close, and like I said, you put up good numbers through 5 games. But yeah, all the names, I'm looking down that roster. You mentioned Cooley, Nyes, Luke Hughes, Brock Faber. Like, that was a loaded team. List. Yeah, that's insane, dude.
Yeah, it was really cool being in the locker room with those guys, and I've never really played with them or against them my whole life, and then we went to camp together, got along well, and yeah, it was a great tournament. Coronado was on that too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He lit it up at Harvard too. He was nasty at Harvard, dude.
I think he'll have a good year this year. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's still in the running to make that Flames team. He hasn't gotten sent down yet.
He's been ripping it on the power.
Yeah. Well, hey man, honestly, we can't thank you enough here at Drop the Mitts for for you joining us. Unbelievable. I know you guys got a busy schedule, and you got your season coming up, so we appreciate you taking the time, and we wish you nothing but the best, and we wish you best of luck this year.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Riley. Good
luck with everything.
Yeah, thanks, bud. Appreciate you. Take care.